Hello, everyone. We are live. So exciting. I don't know what I'm doing, but that's okay. I'm sure you don't mind. I'm sure you're used to people not knowing what they're doing on the internet. It seems to be a common thing that we all do. We all don't know what we're doing. So welcome, welcome. I'm going to put this on speaker view so that when we have speakers, but for some reason, there we go. Okay, so this should be working. I don't know. This is my first, well, other than 25 minutes ago, this is my first time ever going live on Facebook and Zoom at the same time. So it's very exciting. And I'm feeling very unprepared. And I'm running around trying to put my makeup on and dropping things and all that kind of stuff. So, that's very authentic, very authentically me. So you wanted to know what it's like. Well, I don't know if you wanted to know, but I decided that you wanted to know what it's like in my office and in my world. So this is a very authentic experience of what this is like. For those of you who are joining us live on Zoom, welcome, welcome, hello. Ayana is my amazing moderator. So she is going to be checking the chat and doing all that fun stuff. So if you have any questions, just ask Ayana. She will be assigning speaker spots, and she will also be orchestrating, coordinating the question and answer period. You are welcome to ask me questions yourself, or if you're shy and you don't want to ask me a question yourself, you can just type the question in the chat and Ayana will ask it. Well, she'll show it to me and I'll ask it. So we're experimenting with this new format, but we are just going to get started. We are a couple of minutes late because my technology failed me. Even though I tested it, it still failed me. And so you can watch on Facebook, on our Inspired Community public Facebook page, where I do challenges and I share exciting quotes and I answer questions and that kind of thing. It's open to the public. And you can also join us on the Zoom call, and it's drop in and out. So if you want to come and then go, that's fine. If you want to come and then stay, that's fine too. Uh, whatever works. We are here. I'm making a promise that we'll be here for an hour at least. And then if there are still speakers and questions, we will stay longer. But if there aren't, I'm not going to bore everyone and stay longer than an hour because that's just silly. So hello, everybody. If you have any questions, if you would like to speak, please do write that in the chat for Ayana to see. I know Ayana has a little welcome message that she's going to pop in there as soon as she has a minute. I'm going to try not to cough in your ears because that would be terrible. If you can't see the welcome message that Ayana is posting in the chat, please let her know. She is the moderator of the chat. We're trying this tag team thing. So we did have a couple of questions submitted beforehand for people who couldn't make it today, because some people are going to be watching this on the replay instead of joining us live. So we did have some questions, and one of the questions is about storytelling, and this is something that I've actually been working with quite a bit in the last couple of weeks with my clients in practice lab and in private coaching, and also that I've experienced myself. So I'm really excited to answer this question. The question is, where do you start a story? Because a lot of people feel like they have to give a lot of context, and sometimes that's a good thing and sometimes that's a bad thing. And there isn't a hard and fast rule when we're exploring storytelling. It does depend on the context of the story in your talk. So if you are using a story as an attention grabber, as kind of dropping you into the moment and getting the audience's attention, building some atmosphere before you move forward, then the idea is to throw them in the middle of the story and kind of provide as little context as possible, which is breaking the rules, because most of the time people say, please don't have your audience have an open loop because then they'll be distracted. But an open loop can also be to your advantage. And what I mean by an open loop is if the audience is asking themselves a question, they're like, oh, what's going on? What's happening? Where am I? Who is that? Where are we? Those open loops and those questions, they can be distracting if you're trying to move on. But if you're trying to get their attention, they're fantastic. So you can say something like, one of this is public domain because this was in Melody's one woman show that I directed for her last year. One of her stories started with her standing on stage with her eyes closed. And she said, I'm in the dark. I'm on the driveway. My feet are bare and I can feel the tarmac under my feet. And I can see the dark shapes of the trees all around me. And immediately that builds a sense of atmosphere. There's this young girl alone in the dark outside with no shoes on, and we're going, why is she there, what's going on, what's happening? And all these questions come up as the person who's listening to the story, and that it kind of slams us into the moment of what's going on in the story. So that can be an extremely useful tool to really throw you in halfway. And if she had diluted that story by saying first, my mother and I had a fight, and so I ran outside onto the driveway, and I was trying to decide if I should run away from home or not, that's going to completely dilute and make the story less impactful. But if we want to really grab the audience's attention, we just start in the moment, and typically we run through the senses. That's often what we'll do. So that is if you are using a story to grab attention. But if you're using a story kind of halfway through a talk for another purpose, using some context is always a good idea. But I would say avoid using too much context, because we tend to want to over-explain things. We're over-explainers when we're insecure. It's one of the things that we do as speakers. When I don't feel safe, when I don't feel understood, when I feel a little bit insecure about my authority or my expertise, and I feel like maybe people don't want to be listening to me, that's when I over-explain. And it's always much more powerful to under-explain. Let the audience co-create with you. So I'm not saying don't provide context, you absolutely can. It depends on where it happens in your talk. But if you are using a story as an attention-grabbing device, which we often do, then it's better not to provide context, even though it is kind of breaking the rules. I think it's really fun. It's a really fun device. So that is the first question. And I'm afraid I have to look at my phone because I've I've broken my computer. This is just this is very real. This is a very real Facebook Live Zoom call today. So Ayanna, I don't see any live speakers or live questions. Is that correct? Are we still waiting? Are we still waiting for people to drop in? Ayanna, can you just let me know? Either type it in the chat or just unmute yourself and tell me. That'd be great.
That is correct.
That is correct. Awesome. Thank you. That's fine. I have a whole bank of questions that I can answer for people. But I would like to know, for those of you who are watching us on the Facebook group, you can type your questions there. If you don't want to join the Zoom call, if that's too much effort, too much commitment, you can ask your questions in the Facebook group. Ayanna is watching the Facebook group as well. So you are welcome to type your questions there. So I'm just going to look at the archive and choose a question that I want to answer, because why not? Oh, I just got a message from someone saying they're on their way. Yay! Look forward to seeing you, Teresa, when you get here. Oh, I was taking questions. I just started looking out the window because that's what I do. I have a really beautiful, sorry, this isn't a question, but I'm just going to digress for a moment. I have a really beautiful, it's not a beautiful view, but I have a beautiful tree outside my home office. I've got the screen door right here, and I've got the sun coming in. And it's so nice. How long should I make eye contact for? I love this question. What is the appropriate amount of time for eye contact? Well, it's different when we're on Zoom, because this is a speaker question. This is a live speaker question. Because when you're on Zoom or you're doing an online presentation, the more eye contact, the better, really, because you're not making eye contact with multiple people. You're just making eye contact with the lens. There's only one eye to make contact with, and it's not even a real eye. Isn't that sad? So when we're speaking on Zoom or we're doing online presentations, online calls, then you're just always making eye contact as much as possible. You will naturally look away occasionally to think, that's fine. I like to think of maybe 80%, 90% eye contact when I'm doing this kind of presentation. I'm not going to beat myself up if I look away from the screen for a second, but I'm not looking at my face. I'm not looking at the faces of other people. I'm looking at the lens. I'm looking right here. I'm going to boop you on the nose. Boop. I'm looking at the lens um, because that's the way that you feel like I'm making eye contact with you. Now, if you're in a call, like an interactive call, it's a little bit different because you do want to get people's faces. So if you're in an interactive call, when I'm speaking, I'm looking at the lens, and when I'm listening, that's when I'll look at people's faces. So there's that. As far as offline, in person, and the real world, IRL, as the kids say, we are on social media after all. I can say IRL. Then it's different because you have multiple people to make eye contact with. Now, in regular conversation, you're not always making eye contact. That would be really weird and strange, like if you're sitting next to someone and making serious eye contact with them. That's don't do that. It's creepy. But when you're on stage, it's different because it's a heightened reality and you are one person, but you have multiple people that you are talking to. And so even though in real life and regular conversation you would look away, but you know that your attention is still kept by the person you are talking to, and they have they know that they have your attention, and you know that you have their attention because it's just two people and there are other senses that we can use. When you are speaking on stage, it's important that you are making eye contact with somebody all the time. And I would say even, in video, it's okay to look away sometimes, but on stage, I would say never look away. Don't look away to think, stay connected while you are thinking. So what I can do is if I'm going for a more casual feel on video, if I need to think, I can look away for a sec and I can come back. And it's just a second. It's not for long. It's very, very short. But because this is more intimate, because technically, even though in reality we're a lot further apart, as far as the lens and you goes, we're actually a lot closer than we would be if I was speaking on stage. If I was speaking on stage, we'd be meters apart, whereas now we're maybe 1 meter, maybe 2 feet away. So because of that distance, it's actually more important to make eye contact all the time when you are on stage than when you are online. And that is hard to do because you have to think and stay connected at the same time. But as far as I got on a tangent, the question wasn't how to make eye contact. The question was how long to make eye contact for. So I'm making eye contact with somebody all the time. But per person, when I'm on stage, I would say don't worry about it too much. Don't count it. I had someone once say, 20 seconds is the appropriate amount of time to make eye contact. And that's ridiculous because you don't want to be on stage counting every time you're looking at someone. Just make sure that you're making real eye contact. You're not scanning. You're not like looking someone in the eye and then looking someone in the eye and then looking someone in the eye. That's too fast. And you need to make a real connection. So long enough to make a real connection. If you're both very open and you're feeling very present and they're feeling very present, and you look at each other in the eyes, there's this moment of silence and you feel a connection and you feel like they heard you and you hear them, it may only take 5 seconds. But if you're kind of more wrapped up and you're in the middle of a longer thought, it may take longer. And so instead of thinking about a period of time, which is, I know a lot of people kind of want a rule, the rule is not how many seconds. The rule is how connected do you feel. So if I feel like I've had an exchange with somebody, that's long enough to make eye contact for. So welcome. I see we have a couple more people on the Zoom call. I know Ayana is posting the welcome text in the chat. So welcome, welcome. For those of you who are on the Facebook group, you are welcome to join us on the Zoom call, especially if you would like to speak, because we don't have any way we don't have any way for you to speak if you're on the Facebook group. All you can do is watch if you're watching through the Facebook group. But if you would like to speak, please do join us on the Zoom call. And you can have a spot and you can talk to me and get feedback from me. Um, doesn't look like we have any speakers lined up yet. Still only questions for now. I think there's always that, it's like, oh no, I don't want to be the first one. No one wants to be the first one. Um, which is fine. I can be the speaker. It's okay. It's not about me though. I mean, I know it's an open house, but it's not about me. It's about you. And I want people to feel like like they can share and like they can speak their piece, share your message. And even if you don't have a 5 minute presentation, if you want to just come on and do an introduction, I was actually recording, well, this morning I was editing. Yesterday I was recording a little how-to video on how to do elevator pitches. So if anyone wants to come on and practice their elevator pitch with me, welcome. You're welcome. Come on, join me, introduce yourself. In fact, I didn't really introduce myself because I just wanted to jump into the content. So why don't I do a model, a model of the elevator pitch for you. And then if you want to join me and come up and do an elevator pitch, you can. So this is actually, if any of my authentic speaker portal people are watching, this is actually your challenge for the week that that I'm still editing and haven't gotten up on the Facebook group yet. So if you're watching, you can do it now with me and get ahead of the game. I'll give you a lowdown of the content, the kind of simplified version of the content that I've been sharing for for my members, for the portal members. And so when we're doing an elevator pitch, there's lots of different schools of thought. Some people think there's only one way to do an elevator pitch. I think that's garbage. There's lots of ways to do an elevator pitch. I have a 4-step formula that I find quite useful. Step 1 is optional. The step 1 is a hook or an attention grabber. So if you're the kind of person who likes to ask a question before you introduce yourself, or make a disruptive statement, you can do that, but that's optional. It's not necessary. And then step number 2, piece number 2 of the formula is your name. You got to say your name at the beginning and at the end of any sort of formal elevator or networking pitch. Not if it's conversational, but if it's formal, then you want to do it at the beginning and the end, because people will not necessarily be paying attention at the beginning. So you must say it at the end as well. And then piece 3 is the most important piece. That is your content. And as far as content goes, I kind of have 3 different kind of pieces that I swap out. I either do a problem and solution, or I do a case study, or I do something that I'm passionate about. So I talk about what really lights me up. And I think that's one of the best ways to do an elevator pitch. And especially if you're not quite sure what to say, forget about what you're saying and just plug into something that makes you happy, makes you excited, makes you passionate, because that's what the pitch is all about. It's not about saying everything that you do. It's about really connecting with people and showcasing who you are. Who you are is what's important. That's what's going to make people want to come and talk to you, or to hire you, or to possibly work with you, not, a list of all the things you do. So that's the content. And then the 4th element is your call to action. It's very important to have a call to action. So for those of you who don't know me, it's only 20 minutes into the call. Maybe I should introduce myself. I assume you know me already because the invites had my bio and everything on them. But I will do one just as an example so that you can check it out. Hello, my name is Danielle Benson. I run the Inspired Speaker Academy. And what I do is I help people to express themselves authentically on stage and on camera. The problem in the world today, especially right now, is that so many people are faced with cameras in their faces, and it's terrifying, and we feel scared, and we feel like we don't want to be seen, we don't want to be visible, we're scared of public speaking. And this is holding so many businesses back because they're not making video, they're not getting out there, they're not doing marketing online, they're not doing video marketing, and it's hobbling their business, because not only do people not get to build a relationship with them if they're hiding behind videos with slides, or they're hiding behind text advertising, people aren't getting that sense of who they are, and so they can't build a relationship and know, like, and trust them and want to buy from them. But also they're limiting their reach. If you're not online, if you're not doing video, if you're not doing Facebook lives like this, then you're not reaching as many people, and those people might really need you. So what I do is I help business owners and speakers and authors, and also regular people, to get really confident and comfortable in who they are and how they express themselves, and to do so in a way that supports their message and supports their business brand, not in a way that is going to, make them feel embarrassed or inauthentic, but in a way that really makes them shine. And I love what I do. It makes me very happy. So I offer free vocal needs assessments. If anyone you know is interested in figuring out how to use this crazy voice body instrument that we're born with, how to control the voice, how to control the body language in a way that works for you, please do talk to me. I offer free vocal needs assessments, no commitment, just troubleshooting and figuring out if we can help each other given our goals and challenges. My name is Danielle Benson, and I run the Inspired Speaker Academy. So that was on the fly, so it was a little rough, but it did follow all of the points. I had my name at the beginning and at the end. I didn't do a hook because I don't usually like them, so I didn't do one. So I have my name at the beginning and the end. I did the problem and solution. I said what the problem is: people aren't making video. The solution is that I help people feel comfortable and confident on camera. And the call to action was the needs assessment. So you can grab a piece of paper right now and jot down how you would like to introduce yourself. Of course, I'm a business owner, so mine is more a business owner uh, kind of elevator pitch. But if you are an employee, or if you are looking to be an employee, you just solve the problem of uh, of who you are and what you offer. So it's the same, really. And we have our first speaker, and oh, it's not a speaker, it's a question. Damn it. Oh well, close enough. So Kevin is on Facebook and he has a question. Thank you, Ayana, so much for moderating all this. I could not, with my lack of technology skills, there's no way that I could do this all by myself. Um, so, is there a difference between an elevator pitch and an escalator pitch? Oh, you're so funny, Kevin. I would imagine, I've never heard escalator pitch before. I'm assuming you're being funny. But if I were to answer this seriously, I would say yes. I would say an elevator pitch, you have between 30 and 60 seconds because elevators take longer. Escalators can be quite short and people might be walking past you. If you're one of the people who stands on the right and they're walking on the left, you may only have 2 seconds to introduce yourself. So I'm going to say, yes, there is a difference. And the escalator pitch is more like 3 words. Hi, I'm Danielle. That's it. That's my escalator pitch. Whereas my elevator pitch would be a little bit longer because they're stuck in the room with me in the, well, it's a room in that box that moves up and down. And it depends because different elevators go at different speeds. Our elevator in my building, I live on the 3rd floor of a 4-story building, and our elevator takes longer to go to the 3rd floor than some elevators that I've taken to the 20th floor of some hotels. Our elevator is stupidly slow. So if you're in my elevator, you're lucky you get an extra minute. But if you're in one of more of the high-tech elevators, then you don't get as long. So Ayana, I think that checking my phone for questions is not working. I don't like it. I don't like looking away from the screen. Ayana, I'm going to ask you if you can just type in the personal chat to me when someone wants to speak, or if someone has a question. I know we designed this beautiful spreadsheet, but I forgot that I can't have more than one tab open on my computer at a time. So it's not working for me. So Ayana, can you hear me? Are you there? You got it. Awesome. Thank you. So just Ayana, just text to me, chat in the private chat when someone has a question or if they want to speak. We still haven't had a speaker yet. Come on, guys. It's like 28 minutes into the call. Well, I was what, 2 minutes late? So it's 26 minutes into the call. Can we have a speaker within half an hour? Can we do it? I don't know. That would be amazing if we could. We've got 4 minutes to get our first speaker. The the not real challenge because I don't have any prizes or anything, but it would be fun. I challenge you. I challenge you. I see someone's just turned on their video, but I don't know if that means that they want to speak. Ayana's going to let me know in the chat if you want to speak. So if you do want to speak, if you want a speaker spot, please write it in the chat to Ayana, who is doing the moderating, because she will assign you a speaker spot. I'm I'm amazed. And I thought I had all these gregarious people, but when I'm at practice lab, people want to talk. But now I don't have anybody. I don't have anybody who said that they want to talk. I guess it's because it's public, maybe. I don't know. I just have to keep speaking because um, I don't have a choice. I can't sit here in silence. I'm not scared of silence. I think speakers shouldn't be. I think a lot of us can use silence to our advantage. This is something that is important to me as a speaker. I think using a pause is very important, not a dead pause, um, but an alive pause, a pause that is full of life. That can be very, very powerful. I have someone said that they've not prepared anything, but they are interested in speaking. You are welcome to come and just chat with me. You don't have to have anything prepared. So if you don't have anything prepared, but you're interested in talking anyway, just come join me in the conversation. Let Ayanna know that you're interested in speaking. If you don't have anything prepared, we can just talk and we can have a conversation for 5 minutes. That's fine with me. So please do let Ayanna know if you want to speak. Even if you don't have a presentation, that's totally fine. I don't expect
Yeah.
people to have prepared anything.
Hi.
Oh,
Hi,
hello.
everybody.
Hello. Ayanna didn't tell me. She just unmuted you, but that's fine. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you. And you? Everything's good? How's it
I
going?
I am kind of in a mild state of panic
Okay. Why? Why is that?
because I don't know what I'm doing. All this technology is very it's very
Yeah.
overwhelming. But I think I'm handling it.
Okay. And I think part of that is because of actually the silence. Like nobody's taking a lead and nobody's want to actually coming to the stage and speak. So that could be also contributing to this panic.
Yes. Yes, it is definitely contributing to my panic. I wasn't expecting it because when I do private events, everybody wants to talk, but then it's safe because it's not in public. So I think I
Yeah.
had forgotten the power of the intimidation of being speaking in public.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And,
how are you?
yeah, I'm really good. I'm doing very well. I just came back from work, and then I
Mhm.
know I'm a little bit late, but I told myself, oh, just give it a try and
Yeah,
let's go. What's going on? Because this is my first time. I really don't know if for everybody is the first time or not, but this is the
it's
first time
my
for me.
first time.
Oh,
So
really? Okay, good.
this is my first time doing this. This is why the mild state of panic, because I've never done it before. And
Yeah,
whenever you do something new, it's a
yeah,
little bit more scary.
yeah.
So
You're right. Yeah.
so it's my first time, it's your first time, it's everybody's first time.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
So
So
how can I help?
honestly, yeah. Actually, honestly, I'm really passionate about public speaking, and I would love to speak in front of people and let them know about my thoughts and also I'm writing and I'm an author. However, I'm not a published author yet, and I hope I can release my first book in a month or so.
Oh, wow, that's soon.
Yeah, but
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you so much. But honestly, I love speaking so much, even more than writing.
Awesome.
So, but during this pandemic, the opportunities to talk is very, very limited,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, even in some occasions, for example, for Toastmasters, I don't like to talk there because there are a lot of protocols and a lot of
There are a lot of
limitations that
rules.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
and honestly, with all the respect, I really not into that. So I was looking for somewhere to be able to talk to people, and maybe this is a place.
This is a good place to start. This is a
Yeah,
really good place to start. This,
yeah.
unfortunately, is a less interactive environment because it's just you and me talking because it's kind of like a live stream kind of thing. Um, but I do. We should definitely talk further because I do offer more interactive events for my
Mhm,
clients, and there's lots of
mhm,
different types of
mhm,
events that I
mhm,
that I offer.
mhm, mhm.
But it's true. There's very few opportunities to speak, and especially if you want to speak in an interactive way. However, there are a lot of meetups now that used to be in person that are
Mhm.
doing presentations online, and there's some of them
Uh-huh.
are even doing more than they used to
Uh-huh.
because it's so easy because there's no commute. So you should maybe check out. It doesn't need to be local because it's online, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So you could
Yeah.
check out local meetup groups. I know a lot of Toastmasters groups are meeting online as well. Toastmasters is great for practice, but they do have a lot of rules, and that can some people
Exactly.
can find that very intimidating. I
Yeah.
I'm very much a rules are there to be broken kind of person, so I don't do well with too much structure myself. Um, but yeah, so what
Yeah.
kind of things do you like to talk about?
I would love to talk about my book and what it is all about.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your book?
Yeah, sure. Actually, the name of the book, as of now, it might be changing in the future, but now the name is Midterm Goals Suck. And the reason I chose this title is because I strongly believe that midterm goals suck, and we don't need midterm goals. Actually, we need only one very long-term goal, which is our vision, and then a series of short-term goals that are tangible, achievable, and we can plan for them, because we cannot plan beyond 6 months or at most 1 year. The dynamic is really high, that the moving parts are really uh, 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 do not let us plan ahead of time. So it's better to stick to short-term goals and targets, and then one long-term or very long-term vision, which is our north star, or something that our compass. So uh, actually, this is a self-help book to show people how to go from dreaming phase to achieving phase, and in 5 simple steps. And the difference between this book with other similar books are in some ways, for example, the first difference is uh, I'm talking about imagination, not as a snapshot. So when you're thinking about your goal, when you're imagining yourself in that situation, do not stop in a snapshot. Think about a movie and some animated images that are coming after you have reached your goal. And these are actually the dynamic which is going on and unfolding after you have reached your goal. And the second difference is about the power of prayer, because we normally forget about this powerful tool. Even if you are a non-believer, you can reconnect with your soul and ask your higher power, whoever he is. You believe in God, you believe in higher self, you believe in whoever or whatever, doesn't matter. Just don't forget the power of prayer. And then the third difference is midterm goals suck. And I believe that, yeah, you don't need to have midterm goals. You just need to have some short terms, as I already mentioned and discussed. So yeah, this is the main the gist of the book, and I'm trying to wrap it up in a few weeks, or mostly
Oh, exciting.
2 months, and then yeah, hopefully I can self-publish on Amazon. Yeah.
Wow, that's really exciting, and I like that idea. I personally kind of have a similar feeling about goals because I get so obsessed with the how that I forget about the why and what I'm actually trying to achieve because I get bogged down in the details. So I think I agree with you. I also think midterm goals
Mm.
suck. So I love that. And congratulations,
Thank you.
and hopefully some people who are excited about goal setting might follow you and maybe buy your book when it's out
I
because
hope so.
this is now
I hope
public
so.
on online.
Yeah.
Did you want any feedback on your speaking style at all? Or
Sure. Yes. Yes.
yeah,
I want to have feedback.
okay, cool. So
And I mute my microphone, if you don't mind. I
sure,
I will mute it.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
That is very good Zoom practice. Well done. So the biggest thing that I noticed is not really, I suppose it's delivery now that we're online, but it's not really something that I think of as speaking. But because you're holding your camera in your hand, it's a bit wobbly. So for those of us who get motion sick, it's a little bit dodge. So I'm start to feel a little bit queasy. So if you are doing a presentation or something online, if you are speaking at a networking event online, make sure you have a tripod, or that you're using a computer and you have it on something stable. I also am terrible at that. I often hold my phone in my hand and talk, and then I watch the video back afterwards, and it's doing this. So that's the biggest thing, actually, because you're super engaging. You're obviously passionate about what you're talking about, and that comes through. Your understanding of what you're talking about comes through. I would hope that you understand it because you just wrote a book on it. But it is self-evident, and that's not always true. Some people, even though they really know what they're talking about, sometimes it doesn't come across that way because of vocal habits and things. So your expertise is very obvious, is very strong. Your passion is very strong. If I were to give you one piece of feedback to work on, it would be to think a little bit more before you speak. And that sounds like mom advice, doesn't it? Think before you speak. But what I mean is, on the in breath, give yourself a little bit more time to revitalize yourself with every breath. And as I'm saying this, I'm realizing I need to do it too. As we breathe in, we fill ourselves with purpose, with inspiration, with energy, with life. And if we get too excited, or if we're a little bit nervous like me right now, we tend to focus more on on the speaking, on the, like, what I'm saying. And then we don't have enough time to think and collect our thoughts and collect our energy. And so uh, there's a slightly ungrounded feeling in that. It can be sometimes. This is very subtle for you. I had to give you something. It is very subtle, but it is also it can make a real difference to especially to a prepared presentation or to a more formal presentation. In conversation, it's not as important, but taking the time to fill yourself up and give yourself that strength and that power every time you want to say something. So every sentence, every idea, fill yourself up, focus more on the nourishment, not only on the output, but also on the input. That would be my one little tip for you. I hope that was useful.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was very useful, and thank you for the feedback. Great, awesome. Thank you.
Yay, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you for being the first, the brave one to
Thank
come
you.
on. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. Thank you
Okay.
so much. So it looks like you started a trend. You are a trendsetter. You are a leader. We've got a couple more people now who are interested in speaking. But first, we have a question. So we're going to alternate speakers and questions, speakers and questions. So while we're getting the next speaker lined up, Ayanna, I don't know if you have told people when they're next, so you might want to do that. While we're lining up the next speaker, I do want to answer a question that's come up in the chat. Diane wants to know about being shy and speaking too quietly. This is a complex question, so I'll do my best, but this is a complex question. The kind of quick and dirty answer is there are two main elements to volume. One of them is shyness and not wanting to be heard in the first place. So if I don't want to be talking, then my whole being, my emotional self, everything that I'm feeling, everything that I'm thinking is focused on not wanting to be heard. And so my voice will often come out as very quiet and very small, and because I want to disappear, because I don't want people to hear me. And so the physical manifestation of how I'm feeling will be a very quiet voice, a very internalized voice, a very swallowed voice. And that is very much an emotional and psychological component of projection, that I have to want to be heard, because if I don't want to be heard, I have to fight my body in order to be heard, because my body will give me what I want when I'm most keenly feeling at that moment. Maybe not my deepest desire, but my most dominant desire in this moment. So if I am feeling like I really don't want people to hear me, I have to work so much harder on a physical level to be heard, because I'm fighting that psychological and that emotional aspect. So if you are shy, a lot of speakers are shy or introverts. That's absolutely okay. You don't need to change who you are, but you want to focus on why you want to be heard in the first place. And just focusing on that, focusing on the need to speak, the need to be heard, why it's important to share your message, instead of focusing on, I'm shy, I don't want to be here, I don't want people to listen to me, that can really shift things, and it will physically change what's going on in your voice and your body. The second thing is breath. So this is a very physical thing. It does, even if I'm a very gregarious person, if I don't know how to breathe properly and I've cut off my breath channel, maybe I sit at a computer all day and I'm hunched over, so I can't access my diaphragm really. I can only breathe into the top of my lungs. Uh, Maybe I have a collapsed sternum, or maybe I there's all sorts of things that it's not only bad habits that can affect shallow breath. Sometimes it's because something's out of whack with my spine and it's pinching on my diaphragm. So sometimes you need to go see a physiotherapist. Most of the time, it's just a habit. We walk around breathing just in the top of the chest, and that's a very shallow breath. And so if I'm only bringing a small breath in, this is related to what I was talking about earlier. If I'm only bringing a small breath in, then I can only let a small breath out. And my breath is what carries my voice. So if I'm only bringing a small breath in and only letting a small breath out, my voice isn't going very far. I like to think about my breath like the gas in a car. If I only put $5 in, I'm not getting very far. But if I put $20 or $50 in my car, then I can drive far. So the car is your voice and the gas is your breath. You need more breath and it needs to go deeper into the body. So if I breathe, I don't want to blow anyone's ears out, but if I breathe deeply and fully and use the muscles in my torso, my diaphragm and my intercostal muscles to breathe, then I can use those muscles to speak as well. And my voice is much more powerful and it will carry a lot further. We don't need to pretend to be someone we're not. We don't need to pretend not to be shy. We just need to focus on the right thing. I hope that helps, Diane. Thank you so much for the question. And our next speaker, I hope you're ready. It's Sam. Are you ready, Sam? Are you your looks like your camera is off and you're on mute. Uh, but I do
I'm
have you next to me. Hi,
here.
you
Can you
there?
hear me?
I
I'm
can hear you.
was open up.
Congratulations. Hello.
Hello.
Ooh, I like that strong voice. Nice. So do you have something prepared to talk about?
No, but I would like to just express the why I do not like Toastmaster.
Okay.
Can I use it as a topic?
You can. I
Would
would
that be a
like to
problem?
encourage you to we don't want to bash on anybody, so your
It's not
opinion is
bash on anybody. I just would like to say why
okay,
I don't
cool.
think it's work for me.
Perfect. Opinion pieces are allowed as long as we're not doing any
Yes.
hate speech or anything like that. Yes, absolutely. Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sam. I have been taking the course with Daniela for a while. And before I try out Daniela course, I actually try out a few Toastmaster. And the problem personally, I feel I don't like the Toastmaster because I want to find out the real me. I want to find out how's my system, how is my presentation style. I wouldn't want to say to learn something that okay, I swallow or whatever the Toastmasters taught me, but can it really help me to find myself? And can it really help me to understand myself? I mean, for example, I a few years ago, actually I helped with doing some interview, and what I understand is people will read that, hey, go for interview, you need to dress in your suit and tie. Everyone actually they do it really well. Unfortunately, what happened is what they do not understand. There's more than that. You need to be able to convert. You need to be able to let people know what you really able to do the job. That's the reason I realized Toastmaster is not for me at the meantime. Maybe in the future, Toastmaster will be for me. And thank you very much. And now I give my airtime back to Daniela. Thank you very much.
Ooh, thank you for your airtime. You make it sound so formal, like we're on a TV show or something. Thank you so much, Sam.
And
Um,
how is your feedback?
I will give you feedback. First, I would like to just a little disclaimer. I think you're right. I think it's important to be aware of what people specialize in because every training has a different focus. So if you're looking for something specific, you go to that specific person. And Toastmasters have their strengths. I have my strengths. We both have our weaknesses, and there are many different trainings out there. And I always think go to as many trainings as possible. I'm not greedy. I want you to take as much as you possibly can, and become as rich as you possibly can. So I just wanted to say that first before I go into your feedback. Uh, I, I'm quite impressed. You and I have been working together for a little while now, and your speaking was slower. I know you've been working on slowing down your speech so that it's not so choppy and so abrupt, and it was a really nice pace. So well done on that. The T's, now I can't remember, for example, on Toastmasters, the T in the middle, like Toastmaster. You can hit that T a little bit harder. T's at the beginning of the words, you've got. You're really good at the T's at the beginning of the words. Now it's the T's in the middle and T's at the end, especially at the end, because of your as we both know, because of your habit of chopping words and making them very short, it's often the end of the word that gets sacrificed. Just chop them up and like a cook, chop it up and throw them off. This is the end of the words that can get sacrificed. So I wonder if it's almost, I mean, I don't want to add too much to your plate because you are doing well on the pacing, and I want to reinforce that first before we add another layer of complexity. But I wonder if it's almost uh, kind of aiming for the end of the word instead of, I don't know if this works for you in your head.
That's one of my weakness. I kind of
Yeah.
missing certain sound when I'm pronouncing the word. Sometimes it's happen because I need to pay more attention, but how do I do it? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. Well, and especially when, your mind is going very quickly and our mouths can't catch up, it, it can be quite tricky to remember to finish a word. But I think kind of focusing on when I don't know if you picture the words in your head when you speak, but if you don't, I do. You could try it, give it a try. Think of the words, think of seeing the words as you speak them and kind of highlight or put in bold those last few letters. So when I say think, I have the K kind of in uppercase and bold in my head. So I'm hitting the last word. Um, Almost like I always want to bring in sports analogies, which is so weird because I'm not a sport person at all. But I think maybe they're relevant, relatable. If you're throwing a ball, it's the very end of the movement that's important. It's not the beginning of the throw. It's that last 5% of follow through is whether or not you're going to hit your target. So if we imagine words that way, it's not the beginning of the word that's important. It's that final follow through of throwing the ball. And so the double L at the end of the word ball, the K at the end of think, Toastmasters, the R and the S, really focusing on those and enjoying the feeling in your mouth. Speaking should be a physically pleasant experience. And I think this is one of the things, this is why I enjoy articulation so much. I'm one of those weird people who loves tongue twisters, because I think of speaking as a sensual experience, like eating chocolate. Speaking should feel good in your mouth. And when speaking is a pleasurable experience, then it's pleasurable to hit those T's, to hit those R's and those S's. And so feeling that in your mouth and enjoying, kind of roll the words around on your tongue, but not just the beginning of the words, specifically the end of the words. Imagine, okay, now I'm getting really geeky, but if each word was a sip of wine, the finish taste is very different from the beginning taste. And so we're going for the finish taste of the wine. You want to roll the wine around in your mouth for the end of that taste, not just get the kind of tangy beginning, but also get the chocolate and cherry notes at the end of the glass of red wine. That was very more poetic maybe than I usually get. But did that help, Sam? Thank you so much.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. We'll find out. Hit that T. And I do have some favorite tongue twisters. If anyone would like my tongue twisters, I know Sam, I've already shared them with you. But if anyone would like my favorite tongue twisters, they're just tongue twisters. I didn't make them up. They exist. I've just compiled a list of my favorites. If anyone would like that, you're welcome to email me. I'll just write my email address. I think you have it, but I'll just write it in the chat. And you're welcome to just email me and ask for for my tongue twister list. I actually did just update it. I'm just going to concentrate on typing. Otherwise, I'm going to spell my email address wrong. It is Danielle at inspiredcoaching.ca because it's a Canadian domain. So .ca, not .com. Danielle at inspiredcoaching.ca. And you can email me and let me know if you want my list of favorite tongue twisters. And I just uploaded a video 2 days ago on the page where I have my favorite tongue twisters. So for existing clients who've already gone to that page, go check it out again because I've just uploaded a video on doing the tongue twisters. So on how to do the tongue twisters and how to really enjoy that. So you can go and check that out. Thank you so much, Sam, for being brave enough to jump on and speak. Thank you. So I'm just catching up on the chat here. Thank you, Diane, for the doing great. It was a while ago, but thank you. I'm learning. I'm definitely feeling more grounded and more relaxed now that we've got some interaction going. When I felt like I was all by myself, I was a little panicky, which is fine. It's okay. It's okay to be human. It's okay. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay. I think a lot of us try and be perfect, and I'm so against perfection. I think perfection is boring. So just just in case you wanted to know my thoughts on that, I think perfection is boring. Oh yes, good. So Mohsen shared the link to his book, so that's fantastic. And I don't have any more questions in the chat, so we are all caught up. If you want to speak, or if you want to ask a question, please do. Don't be shy, or be shy but ask the question anyway. Maybe that's a better. I like that better. Be shy but ask the question anyway. I think I don't have any more questions to answer, so I'm just going to talk. Until you have a question, you have to get subjected to me talking. I think that is the definition. Don't make the talking face at me, Sam. I see you. What else am I going to do? But I did want to say that I can talk forever. Courage is a huge part of being a speaker. And I think a lot of the time we think that really good speakers don't feel fear. And I think that's not true. I think even people who get really exhilarated by speaking, I think the fear is still there. It's just that they've learned to make friends with it and they've learned to find a way to harness it. I definitely work with my fear these days. I will often use it for energy, like when I'm panicking today. But I do think that courage is an essential part of being a speaker because being seen is scary. Being public and live and vulnerable and messy and imperfect can be very scary. It can feel really exposing and we can feel like people are going to kind of find us out. But the truth is that we're all imperfect. And the people who are trying to pretend that they're perfect, they're liars, really. So true to them, they're liars. And the people who can embrace their imperfection and stand up anyway and speak anyway and be scared and do it anyway, share their message anyway, I think those are the people who are really courageous and those are the people we should admire, not the perfect people. I don't admire perfect people. I think perfect people are boring and they are liars. But people who are brave enough to embrace their message and to go, this is bigger than me. I might not be perfect. I might make mistakes. People might laugh at me, but that's not what's important. My ego isn't what's important. What's important is that I'm sharing my message, I'm being vulnerable with people, and I'm building connection. And I think that takes a lot of courage. And anyone who does that, and for those of you who've already spoken today and those of you who are still yet to speak today. I think I want to just acknowledge how much courage that takes and thank you for being that. So getting all emotional now. Uh oh, I will speak off the cuff if there is time. Diane, there is so time. Please join me. If Ayan is the co-host, so she can unmute you.
I'm
And
unmuted.
there you are. You are unmuted.
I
I like it.
unmuted myself.
Yeah, that's empowerment for you. I know Ayan is juggling a million things. So I love your sweater.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
I just want to say I am a Danielle fan. Huge. She's helped me a lot in the past, and I'm I admire her, and she has really helped me with my breath to speak and utilize fear. And that is something I'd like to talk about, is about limiting beliefs. I always ask myself, and I'm going to say always, when I have these limiting beliefs that really, I don't really need to speak today. I could actually just go out on the sun deck right now. um, Similar to what you had said already, who maybe wants to hear from me what I have to say or want to say. People know this already. Because I've studied so many things, it almost feels like everybody should know what I know. But I understand, because so many times I'll hear things like, oh my gosh, Diane, you changed my life. And I think, wow, if I stayed afraid, there's so many things. There's marriages and all kinds of things that wouldn't be together still right now, and businesses that wouldn't have started, and so many amazing things. So I ask myself, when the limiting belief comes, I ask myself, I'm coming from the ping, Danielle. I ask myself, where does this belief come from? Who does it belong to? Is it true? Is it true? Is the next question. And I can't find anything that is truth about it. But what I do know that is true is our message, and that if our message is not out there and it's held within, what starts to happen to me is I start to actually get aches and pains in my back and sore throat. All kinds of physical things start to come out. A rash, all kinds of things in it. And it's because I know I have a message and I'm holding back with fear. And I mean, I had a course today, and beforehand, again, it was just those fear things again. Then remembering, it's not about me. It's what I'm sharing. And I'm passionate about listening to other people. I always learn something from everyone. And I just really wanted to share. And you know what? I don't even care that there's and so. I care about the message, and that it's coming from my soul, my deep soul. So thank you for allowing me this stage right now to be out here, and I'm just so grateful. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Diane. And I was so affected by your talk because you were so grounded. And that's something I've really been missing in the last 2 or 3 days of my life, how wonderfully grounded you are. And did you want feedback?
Yes, please.
Remember to ask. Consent is important. Yeah, I love that you are taking your time and enjoying your time and being so present. It's such a pleasure to be in your presence, even though I'm not actually in your presence. But to, be in your presence.
Nowadays, this is
Yeah, this is presence now. But you were so present that you were present through the computer. And you calmed me down. You allowed me to breathe. Gave the voice coach permission to breathe. Thank you very much. It's lovely to see you being so grounded and so connected. If there was something that I would tell you can improve, there is a slight audibility in your inhale. So sometimes when you're breathing in, I can hear it. And what that means is that you might be pulling the air in, I'm guessing, you might be pulling the air in a little bit through your throat instead of allowing it into your diaphragm and your belly and your pelvis. It's very subtle. And I think it's amplified by the fact that you do have a microphone very close to your mouth. I don't know if I'd hear it if your microphone was far away. But it is an indicator to us if your in breath is audible, if you can hear yourself breathing in, that means that there is something going on somewhere. Because if your throat is completely relaxed and open and your chest is open and you don't have remnants of a cold and no mucus or anything like that, and you're breathing deeper into the belly through the diaphragm, then the in breath can be silent. So if it's not silent, it's a little like, oh, maybe am I pulling it in? Am I forcing the air in a little bit? Or do I have a little bit of residual tension in my throat? Or maybe I just had a cold. Who knows? But this is something to be aware of.
Mm.
And the other thing is, and I kind of almost don't want to say this because I think it was part of the fact that you were so connected, looking away to connect with yourself. So when you're thinking sometimes you were with us and you stayed with us while you were thinking, while you were breathing, but sometimes, maybe half the time, you're looking away to think and to connect with the self and then coming out to us. Now this is difficult stuff. This is kind of advanced level connection. And now I'm doing it. I'm looking away. You sometimes it's necessary to look away and connect to the self. If you can stay connected and connect to the self at the same time, it's much harder, but it's much more powerful. And so if I have the fortitude and the ability and the vulnerability to stay open to the public while I am also going down into myself, that just takes it to a whole other level. It's not always possible. Sometimes you don't feel safe. Sometimes you're just juggling too many balls and it's just not a thing that can happen. So, I'm kind of, it is a more advanced piece of feedback to give you, but it's what I noticed. So I'm saying it anyway. And you can take advanced feedback. You and I have been working together for a while. So that's what I wanted to say about that. Thank you so much for speaking.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I love it when people talk. Yeah, thank you so much. If people need to drop in and drop out, that's totally fine. That was the idea. The idea of this event. It is my very first open house. I don't really have a plan. The plan was that I would be open and available and see what people wanted, because I didn't want to make a plan beforehand. I didn't want to make a decision beforehand and then kind of force it onto people. I wanted to see what happened organically, and then I'm going to be doing these more and more in the future, and we'll see. But I wanted to allow people to drop in and drop out because I don't want people to feel bad for being late, and I don't want people to feel bad for leaving early. I want them to be able to just come and go. We are live streaming, so it doesn't matter if you miss some of it. You can catch it later. It's not a big deal. I'm still here, and whoever else is here. When no one is here anymore, we'll stop. But there isn't a hard start or hard end time for the participants, because I wanted to leave it open. I wanted to leave it flexible. I wanted it to grow organically. And I do see that Teresa has just joined us. Thank you. Thanks, Essie. Nice to see you. And hello, Teresa.
Can you hear me though? I just got a new headset. Can you hear me?
Woohoo! There you
Yeah.
are. I can hear you. You're a little echoey, but I can hear you.
Oh, really? Okay, this is a new one, and it's a wireless. I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh, I can hear you. I can hear you
How
fine. Can you
good
hear
is
me?
my voice though?
How good is your voice or how good are your headphones? That's two different questions.
Oh, my voice. Can you hear me to do a speech or something?
Yeah, I can hear you. Do you want to? Do you want to talk?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's nice to see you.
Oh, you know what? I love the setting that you have, and the makeup,
My
and the
fake
color on
flowers. Do you
you,
like? Do you
and the
like?
scarf,
You're not real.
and the picture. Oh, everything's great. This is so great. I love the whole setting.
Thank you. The flowers remind me of home. These are all things that we had growing in the garden where I grew up. So, when I saw them at IKEA,
Oh,
I was like,
beautiful,
I must
beautiful.
have them.
Great.
So do you wanna speak for a little bit?
Yeah, I can tap into a little bit. So much
Awesome.
happened, but I could talk a little bit. I just want to continue on Diane's talk because Diane's speech is amazing. Exactly how I react to this as well, the emotion wise. It's very similar. My speech is very similar to Diane's in a different kind of angle. But I also want to talk about is how often we like what we making decisions based on. Like I often ask people question: Is your emotion real? Is how you feel is real? Like I even on this Zoom calls or even you make decision to decide to not talk to your friends or you don't like your friends or you want to dump your date. There's a lot of different decisions. You make decisions every day or what to eat, where to go. Well, where is this decision based on? Do you think this is actual? I'm not even trying to tell what is the correct way to do. I'm just simply raising a discussion. What are decisions based on? I feel I make my decision based on how I feel. Sometimes I don't even know how I feel is real because how I feel based on my own filters, my emotion, my past story, history. Have I like maybe I have some bad experience in the past. I have my based on how much this person like me, how I feel about this person, and even based on if I have a good morning. But all these emotions are true or not. Sometimes I'm very confused. I could have based on not to like this person based on how I feel. But if I feel that day, if I feel truly based on my center perspective on this person not make me feel good, my needs are not met, my emotional needs, I don't get enough attention, or simply I feel scared about this public speaking thing. I don't want to go because I feel scared. That is how I feel right now. So I make decisions based on not to go because I'm scared, or because I'm simply like this group of friends charge every time to go. They go a very expensive restaurant. I don't like them because they're not considerate about me, my situation. So I'm not being friends with them anymore. That's the decision too. So I often thinking, even recently, I start to think, what this decision about? Like what's the value point for me to make that decision? Can I trust my decision? And if I don't, how should I make a wise and good decision from now on? Like, like this is I'm just trying to raise a discussion to feel like I don't even trust how I feel anymore because there's so much filters going on in my personal story, and especially the word story. You know, the story can be fiction. Story can be script or in my head is not even happened, or it could be a certain expectations, or could be just simply my needs are not met. But no one here in this earth is responsible for your own feeling, for your own emotional needs, or for how you feel. So if I feel that the other party is supposed to meet my emotional needs, knowing exactly I am scared, Like, let's say if this Zoom meeting, if I'm scared, I'm not gonna jump in. But if, for instance, this would change my decision if I decide not to come here. If Danielle give me a text message, Teresa, don't be scared. I'll feel, oh, my emotional needs get met. I can go now. So I just feel that's not real. My scary thought is not real because I simply just want my question answered, my emotional needs met, or my attention get feed, or my past story it get answered. All of this confused ideas to get cleared. So I just simply make a lot of decisions every day, and sometimes I may miss out a lot of goodies in my life. So I just want to ask everybody present, what are you, what the decision based on? How can you make decisions? And when you make decision, ask yourself, where did decision come from? Is this a good decision? So just ask everybody, and I want to ask to myself like that as well every day when I try to make decisions. I think that's the starting point for me to get to know myself and get to kind of like a self-development journey for this fear, for this thought, for this emotion. I thought I'd just share that thought with everybody. And my speech is over. Thank you very much.
Oh, I love it. Such an important message, I think. I definitely have a lot of emotions that I react to that are more kind of surface levels and more reactions to other things that are going on. So self-awareness is a very important piece. So thank you so much, Teresa. That was you gave me a lot to think about.
Oh, thank you, sweetie.
It's so nice to see you as well. Did you want feedback? Did you want speaking
Yes,
feedback?
please. Yes, please. You know what? I would much prefer in person so you can see my body language. But now you can only see my
I was
face.
just thinking that. I was just thinking that, and that's actually my first point. If since you do want feedback, that was my first point. Is this is something that I find very frustrating with the medium that we are on, is that we don't get to be full body people, but we can full body. I'm not a full body person, I'm just a floating head. But we can. There are things that we can do. So I realize you're just jumping on a call, so it's not really realistic for what we're doing right now. But if you were, for example, if you were hosting your own Facebook Live or something like that, investing in, I don't have mine here, but investing in a phone tripod or something so that so you don't have to be holding it and you can stand a little bit further away. Oh, yes, exactly. When you do that, it looks so much better. Immediately, I connect to you better. And immediately, weirdly, you look more professional because if it's just kind of like if I have floating head syndrome, if I'm just like the big giant head from Third Rock from the Sun, if anyone else watched that show in the 90s, if you're just a floating head, then for some reason that feels, it's like showing up in jeans, like torn jeans or shorts. And
How could you know?
hey, I was gonna say, is it because you didn't want to get dressed properly for this? um, it is very interesting, but your composition, your frame composition, has almost replaced body language on the online world. So you still need to have body language because if you're using proper frame composition, we can hopefully see. I'm I'm not really happy with this because I like to see elbows. So this is a little bit too close for me, actually. But imperfect, work in progress. But at least you can see my hands and you can see, my most of my chest. Uh, the closest we want to be is kind of mid chest. If we cut ourselves off at the neck, it just feels a bit. It's informal. That's what it's informal. Informal is not wrong. It's just depends on your context. So the kind of further back you are, the more formal you are for some reason online. It just seems to be the gestalt of the thing. So that's like my biggest piece of feedback, is not really to do with delivery at all. As far as, I mean, I love you've come a long way actually in
That's what I
embracing
would
your
say. Just
quirkiness.
comparison to my before. You knew my
Yeah,
speech before, so.
because I haven't seen you in months and months. The last time I saw you, you came to one of my, it was pre-COVID, in the pre-COVID days, you came to one of my live events. And you were, I mean, you are always lovely and bubbly and also wise, but you were quite self-conscious. And I don't know if the limitations of Zoom have made you less self-conscious, or if you've been doing a lot of personal work, which it sounds like you have. And it feels like you are much more comfortable in your skin. You're much more comfortable with being the fun, silly, wonderful person that you are, which is a joy to see, because you are such a joy. So that really came through. I felt so much less self-consciousness from you, so much less self-judgment from you than I have previously. And I want to really acknowledge that, because that is a big deal. There was something, and again, I don't know if this is with technology, you never know. I don't know. I don't think this is a technology thing, but as far as vocal delivery and speech goes, the biggest thing, other than thinking to speak, although you are much better at that as well, thinking before you speak. Other than that, the biggest thing that I could hear is that your voice sounds very kind of in your upper register. So you're the top of your range, and I'm not hearing a lot of body resonance in your voice. So if I'm talking just kind of from my throat and my face, it's not necessarily unconnected, but I'm only using the upper part of my register, and I immediately sound younger. And I know that authority is something you want to work on. I also sound more fun. And so sometimes this is very appropriate if I want to be channeling a more kind of fun, silly kind of vibe. It does work. I'm also more unthreatening when I'm only speaking in my upper register. But what I lose is I lose the authority and the groundedness of the full body resonance. And so that is the thing. If there was something to work on, I'm so proud of you being more like cohesive in yourself. But if there was something for you to work on, it would be to bring your voice more into your whole body, and not just the youth of the upper register, but also uh, your full body. And the sensuousness of that, and the groundedness of that, and the competence of that, because you are very wise and you are very competent. You really know your stuff. And to bring that out a bit more. For anyone who doesn't know, and I'm not quite sure which part of her career Teresa is working on at the moment, but I know that she has done a lot of bridal design, and this is bridal dresses behind you, and she's done some personal styling work with me, which has just changed my life. You can't tell I'm spending a lot of time in my pajamas these days, but pre-COVID, and also now that I'm having to choose what to wear, for things like this, Teresa's really helped me. So I just wanted to let people know about that. Thank you so much, Teresa.
Thank you so much.
Yay. Yay. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Carol, thank you for joining us. I know we've kind of thrown caution to the wind as far as processes goes, because it looks like I didn't give Ayanna the permissions that she needed to properly moderate this. So sorry, Ayanna, I totally hobbled you in doing that. But Carol, hello, and thank you for coming. I know when we spoke, you said maybe speaking, maybe not. So if you did want to have a chance to address the general public, do just let me know in the chat, or let Ayanna know in the chat, or me or Ayanna or everyone in the chat, and let us know if you would like to speak. And you absolutely will have an opportunity to do that, because that's why we're here. It's not only the Danielle show, it's also all of you show, because that's what this is really all about. I'm just a very chatty host because, because I want to set an example, and I want people to feel like they can speak. I don't want people to feel too much pressure. And I also do want people to get to know what it's like to talk to me and work with me, because that is part of what this open house is about. While we're waiting for questions and speakers, I will tell you a little bit about that, I suppose, since it has come up in a couple of different speeches. I do run weekly practice labs, which is kind of like this, but more interactive. So, and it's not open to the public. So every week I run a practice lab at different times of day. I try and alternate to get all the different time zones, because now I have clients all over the world. And what we do is we show up, we get on a Zoom call. We only have 6 speakers per lab. You pre-assigned speakers. It's all decided beforehand. We schedule it, and speakers have 10 minutes to speak. No, they have 5 minutes to speak and 10 minutes of feedback, 15 minutes total. And we work on all sorts of things. I love it because it's very much kind of like this. It's very much oriented towards everyone else. It's not my agenda, it's the agenda of whoever shows up, the participants. So in Practice Lab, we've had people do stand-up comedy, we've had people sing songs, we've had people practice presentations, a lot of practicing presentations, trying out slides, getting feedback on content. We've had people, we've been doing some accent work recently, accent reduction. We've been doing breathing exercises. We've been practicing for video. I've given feedback on video. So the person came live on the call, but played a video and got feedback on their YouTube video. All sorts of things, pretty much anything to do with public and in-person communication, we do. So there's all sorts of stuff that happens at Practice Lab that is very oriented at the participants and their needs. It's like open mic. It's a safe space to practice and get feedback, and you don't need to be prepared if you don't want to be. It's very kind of devil may care. And then because if you want my content, if you want my training, I have courses for that. So I have online courses as well on my online membership for people to take, and there's a whole bunch of courses on there, some on public speaking, some on building one on accent reduction at the moment, building one on vocal quality at the moment. There's one on how to be confident on camera that's actually going right now. We're in module 3, I think. We just finished module 3. We're moving into module 4. And there's also one on how to prepare a talk, because I find that a lot of people either over prepare or under prepare, but there's a sweet spot of you don't want to over prepare so much that you take all the life out of your talk, but you also don't want to under prepare so much that you're panicked. So so I have a whole course on that too, so just in case you were interested. Thank you so much, Teresa, for coming on. I see just a gorgeous little message from you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. So nice to see some friendly, familiar faces that I haven't seen in so long. And Clara, hello, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I am well. Ooh, got a bit of a hum going on, but I think that's okay. I think that's okay. Are you speaking?
Me?
Yes. Or are you just saying hello?
No, I could, but I'd
Good.
have to. Yes, I didn't have time to prepare something, so you would just need to give me 5 minutes. So
Oh yeah, for sure. No pressure. No pressure. I was just wondering if you were. I'm just asking people as they log on, really. So if anyone does want to speak, you can just type that you would like to speak in the chat, and we will get you on the speaking roster.
Okay, so I'll get on the speaking roster, definitely.
Okay, well, right now there isn't anyone else on the speaking roster, so just let me know when you're ready.
Okay, so 5 minutes.
Yeah,
please.
take 5. Take 5. Relax. Take time. Ground yourself. Do all the things that I didn't do before coming on this call. I don't like to be one of those do as I say, not as I do people. And I'm not. But it's okay if occasionally you don't live up to your own standards. That's also all right. I'm very big on radical self-acceptance. I think that's very important. It's important to not feel like you have to be perfect. If anyone, yeah, and so, sorry, I was getting distracted by messages coming up. If anyone would like to speak, please do distract me with a message in the chat. Let me know, and you're welcome. I would love to have someone other than me speak. I don't mind speaking, but I prefer it when other people do. I want to support you while you're here, and I appreciate everyone that's come to speak so far. It's been so nice to see some familiar faces that I haven't seen in a while. I don't get out much during COVID at all. So this is kind of my social time. this and Practice Lab are kind of my social life now.
Oh, actually, I have a question though.
Yes, you have a question. Hit
I
me.
just feel like owning your voice, right? Like own your voice.
Mm,
Sometimes I have higher awareness, like you said. I always have a
mhm,
lot of thinking, a lot of mindset that I want to share. Recently, I like depends on like some friends. It's naturally for me to share because they know I'm like the bubbly person. I talk all this stuff. Sometimes the friend can give me the feedback. Those words are not from you. Those words seems like you just read a book. Like I feel like am I not being authentic when I deliver my message? Like I'm wondering, do I have a breach? Like do I have a breach in my message or when I deliver the message or how like maybe I
mhm.
was interacting in a casual environment with a little bit more seriousness. Like there's definitely there's more. If you want people to convince what you try to talk, there's definitely
Mhm.
more environment awareness as well that I have to pay attention to
Yeah.
because I feel they're like I'm just sharing my opinion and they said no, this is not from your words. You just read a book or something. Like they're not they definitely they don't believe me for the message I'm going to deliver. So so I'm like so I'm just
This,
thinking if I have to be aware of the environment I'm creating and when it's a good time to deliver a message and how to deliver the message and that sort of subject.
yeah, and friends are dangerous because I mean in a lovely way. But friends can be
Mm-hmm.
dangerous because especially if you are growing and you are changing and you've known someone for a very long time and they have a very strong sense of who they think you are, you can actually get really limited by that because they have this idea like this is who you are. And often people will see you in a very two-dimensional way. And you're not
Mm-hmm.
two-dimensional, you are three-dimensional, you're a complicated person. But if they have only seen you in certain situations, they may not feel comfortable with seeing other parts of you that they haven't seen up to now. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes our friends know us better than anyone else, and they can call us out when we're being inauthentic. That absolutely does happen. However, you know better than they do. So if you feel like you are being really authentic and your friends are telling you that you're not, they might actually be saying, instead of, you have to translate. Sometimes you have to translate feedback. And instead of hearing you're not being authentic, maybe you have to recognize that from their perspective, you're not showing them the person that they were expecting. And that's not the same as not being authentic. That's a completely different thing. So you need to know on the inside, am I being authentic? And there are things that you can do. There are self-awarenesses that you can find. There are vocal clues that I use to kind of check if there's a certain sound to truth. A lot of the time you can actually tell if someone's really feeling their truth, really embodying their truth, because it sounds a
Mm-hmm.
certain way. But there is also that kind of casual judgment that friends have. And some friends can get really possessive about their idea of who you are. And so it is important to remember that sometimes it's just not the right context. Sometimes, if they just want to be palling around and you want to say something serious, you do have to
Mm-hmm.
read the room.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're giving you the tough love and they're calling you out on something you don't want to admit. And sometimes they're wrong. Sometimes they're just wrong and they don't see the full you, because the only person who sees all of you is you. And we are such complex beings, and other people never see all of our complexity. So it's
Mm-hmm.
something that you have to ask yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're getting that feedback consistently, you need to ask yourself, do I need to edit myself with this friend? Are they not open to this side of myself? Do I need to pick the time that I breach these subjects more carefully? Is there maybe a way to talk about this, or a way to address this with my friend and communicate about it? Because uh, I don't think it's not a pleasant feeling to feel limited by someone else's expectation of you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a really good question. Thank you so much. Really good question. Was that 5 minutes? Is Clara ready?
I am, yes.
Fantastic. So
I
I'm
have a
gonna.
question.
Oh, you have a question first?
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I have a question for you though. I'll let you choose. Would you prefer that I read a text or that I do a presentation like the one I did the other day? Which
So Clara,
option do you
for
prefer?
those watching on the Facebook replay, Clara and I have, she comes to my practice lab. So Clara and I have worked together before. It's up to you. This is live on Facebook to the world. So I would suggest that if there is something that you are putting out live anyway, like I know you have a YouTube channel, I know you have a business that you are promoting, why not use this also as a promotion opportunity? Why not?
Okay, so I can go ahead, I suppose, with the presentation, the same as the other day. Just 1 second, please. I'm going to share my screen.
Ooh, this is exciting. We haven't had a screen share yet. Let's hope it works. Fingers crossed. So far, so good. Yes. I see you. I see you and your screen. Fantastic.
Can I go?
You can.
Okay, so good evening. My name is Clara White. I'm an ecological economist and a political scientist, and I am also the executive director of BioEpocas. And currently, we're promoting a new initiative, which is the creation of a global network for the creation of ecological civilizations. And this is an information session on the global network, how it's going to be implemented, and how people can register if they're interested in participating in any way in this initiative. So first of all, what is BioEpocas? BioEpocas is a non-profit organization aimed at investigating, facilitating, and coordinating global processes towards the ecological transition. Now, what is the global network for the creation of ecological civilizations? It is a global project aimed at facilitating the ecological transition. It aims at creating continental working groups in order to think and implement local versions of an ecological civilization relying on local history and cultural values. Representatives of each continental group will take part in the elaboration of the global platform of the network, which will tackle issues of global relevance such as climate change. Now, what do we mean by ecological civilization? First of all, let me give you a definition of civilization. According to the Collins Dictionary, a civilization is a human society with its own social organization and culture. Now, building ecological civilizations requires the reorganization of the social, economic, political, and cultural orders on the basis of ecological values. That means values that are respectful of all living beings, present and future, on this planet. That requires a huge paradigmatic shift, and at BioEpocas, we strongly believe that this shift can be organized and implemented smoothly and respectfully through proper political processes of dialogue. For this reason, we're calling for every person and every organization of goodwill to join their efforts and make ecological civilizations happen in a respectful and peaceful way. Now, how is the network going to work? It will include continental working groups that will share ideas, projects, best practices in order to craft their own locally rooted versions of an ecological civilization. Several representatives of each continental groups will take part in a global working group that will work at elaborating a global platform for an ecological civilization to tackle global issues such as climate change. The working groups will exchange ideas and information on a daily basis or on a regular basis on a collaboration platform which is currently being set up. They will also meet regularly, like every month or every other month, month, either on an online communication tool such as Zoom or in person whenever possible. Now, how can you join the network? There's nothing easier, and you have three options at this point. First of all, you can fill up the registration form if you have it. Second option, you can contact us by sending an email at contact@bioepocast.org. Or you can reach out to us on social media. You can find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. BioEpocast is really looking forward to working with you at building a greener planet for all living beings now and in the future. Thank you so much for your attention and interest. I'll be looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you and have a good evening.
Nice. I didn't ask beforehand. I'm assuming you want feedback. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yes, I love it. Thank you for being so game. And I love the presentation, and I loved it even better the second time I noticed you implemented some of the feedback from what we'd been working on. So well done. Yay. Yeah, I really, I mean, I love what you do. And I think there was a moment where I was like, what about past living things? But I guess they're not as important as present and future. So that makes sense to me. I just had a moment of like, but I do love what you're doing, and I'm so glad that you had a chance to share it on this call. So as far as feedback goes, I love that you're slowing down, you're enjoying your words. I don't know if anyone else on the call was listening earlier when I was talking about feeling the words in your mouth and enjoying the words. I can really hear that from you. And it helps us so much understand, because your content is so dense. There's so much of it. There's, you've got lots of long words. It's very academic. And so slowing down and enjoying the feel of the words and speaking with your hands really helps us to absorb and to think and hear what you're saying. So well done. I like that a lot. You, like me, are a hand talker, which is great. It's a little bit challenging on calls like this because your hands kind of come in and out of frame. And it's one of those frustrating things where if you didn't have to play with your computer, well, not play, but if you didn't have to use your computer, you could stand a bit further back and then your hands would be in frame all the time and it wouldn't be distracting. But they do come in and out of frame a lot. I have the same problem. And what I am trying to do, and so what I invite you to try and do, is when they're up, I like to leave them, like if I know that they're in the frame, I like to leave them in the frame a little while, move them a little slower so people can see them, get used to them before they disappear again. Otherwise, there's a lot of this and it gets very distracting. It's like, oh. The other thing with hands on film, and this is very much a camera technique thing, so now we're going into almost like film school, is that most of us, when we speak naturally, our hands go forward in front of us. But if there's a camera, it makes my hands look huge. And that, again, can be disorienting for my audience. So it's important to kind of feel you're on a sideways plane with your arms, and you kind of almost want to gesture out instead of forward, just to stop this like, whoo, big hands coming and going. So that's just something that I'm building my awareness of. And so I share my awareness with you. As far as the slides go, I understand we've had the conversation about why you have things written on your slides, so I'm not going to address that. But the white text on the photos is a little bit hard to read, so I would put like some transparent background or something, just a filter or something over so we can still see the picture. We don't want black screens are boring. And the picture is so beautiful and it gives such a sense of who you are and what you do. But just a little bit of like 20% black behind the text, so it's easier to read. And yeah, I think your voice is very animated. You're very excited. You're speaking lovely and at a beautiful pace so we can understand you. The beginning, I noticed that you really enjoyed saying your name, because that is always the thing that we can rush through. It's like, hi, I'm Danielle Benson, and what I do is, and then we get excited and we slow down. So well done on focusing on the name at the beginning. And the only other thing was, it was also a gestures thing, actually, is I love your gestures. Make sure you don't bring your shoulders too much into your gestures. So the shoulders don't have to be part of it. There's every now and again you would kind of, it was like a whole body gesture, and whole body gestures are good, but when the shoulders move too much, it feels a bit, I don't know, there's just something to shoulder gestures that they just feel a little bit off. So instead of moving with the shoulders, move through the shoulders and into the arms. How's that? Is that, did that help?
Yes, for sure. Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Clara. It's always a pleasure to hear what you're up to.
For me, so I'm taking the opportunity to tell everyone how great you are and how helpful it is to come and join your workshop, and how much they should really consider joining your workshops. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Oh, thank you. That was very sweet. Oh, and thanks for the thumbs up, Sam. Oh, I feel so loved. I love you so much. I love the community that we're building, and this place where people can come together and share what they're excited about, and we're all improving together, right? That's the wonderful thing about this, is we're all helping each other. And what I love is when people have been working with me for a while, I can just sit back and they give each other feedback because they've become so self-aware. And in becoming self-aware, you're also aware of others. It's not in a judgy way, but in a kind of like, oh, I do this and you do this. And we all just support each other. And it's such a beautiful thing. So thank you so much.
Thanks to you. Thanks so much.
Yay. Great. Great, great, great. So some people have dropped in and some people have dropped out, which is, dropped out sounds horrible, but you know what I mean? Like, come and go. It's a good thing. It's not like drop out, not a judgy word. Do we have anyone else who would like to speak or who has any questions? I'm really excited because when we were preparing for this and I was so unsure who was going to show up, I was thinking, well, I'll stick around for an hour and I can do by myself for an hour if I need to, but we're almost at 2 hours. So that's exciting. Does anyone else want to speak? Does anyone else have any questions? I'm here if you do. I'll talk about something else to give you time to compose your question or compose your courage if you would like to speak. I'll give you 5 minutes to make that decision. And if no one has decided that they have a question or want to speak within 5 minutes, then I will do something else. But I see someone's just turned on their camera. Claudia's just turned on her camera, so maybe that means she wants to speak. I don't know. Does it? Does it? I see her nodding, but she's still on mute. You'll have to unmute yourself, Claudia.
Okay.
Yes. Success.
Yeah.
There you
Sorry
are.
for being so late, but I'm.
There is no start or end time to this event. It is just,
Okay.
it just exists outside of space and time. Oh, I love your necklace.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. You look great.
Okay.
All right. You're speaking, I assume. So I'm going to
Yeah.
mute myself and let you take the stage.
I'm going to put it in gallery view so I don't see myself too much. Is that okay?
Absolutely. I'm leaving it in speaker view for the recording, but you put it in gallery view. I prefer gallery view as well.
Okay. So I'll do this and talk here. There. Hello, everybody. I'm here to tell you that this week I'm having a blast going to Class Canada. At Class Canada, we studied different genres and styles of Yiddish dances. And we, if you are a musician, you can participate as a musician. So you get to play with groups of people who are absolutely fantastic. And I am learning dances, and I'm exploring this way to communicate together and to create at the same time through the internet. So it's been fantastic. It's been wonderful. And for instance, today I just had a party. So I have been dancing with others. There's one dance which is very hard to do if you're not with other people, but it went pretty well. And then we spotlighted different people at different times, and that was beautiful. The other thing that I had to do was record myself, so that there's they are going to do an edition. And I love klezmer dance. I love Yiddish dances and klezmer music. It's very lively, very, and it also speaks to my heart because of my ancestors. And also these weeks I have been calling on my ancestors. That's something new, but I think it's interesting to do that exploration. And there are lots of things to learn. And what else can I say? I love everything that is done in community, and this feels very good. Also to participate from time to time with the same people together, because there's maybe with this new situation, I will be able to participate in more events, and you get to see those same people again and again. So I would say if you have that chance to do that and build trust and build confidence with a group like we are doing today, that is awesome, because you counter that feeling of isolation. You are with a cohort of people who will hold space for you, and that is very important. On top of this, these people at Clays Canada, many of them, not all of them, you can go, anybody can go and participate, but we have an Ashkenazi origin, because this is klezmer music is from Eastern Europe, and it has a history, a tradition and a history of musical expression, and even from the 10th, 12th century. But it obviously evolved, and today there are different festivals in the US, in Canada, in Germany, in Israel, in what else? Argentina, and in different parts of the world. And there are many new hybrids of klezmer with something else, or klezmer also in its classical form. And this is a way to keep our traditions and also renew them. So for anybody who would like to check it out, it's called Clays Canada. And I am Claudia Bulayevsky, and I teach dance, I teach klezmer, and here in Vancouver, I am organizing a small event. I don't know when yet, because it's hard. We have to think lots of things, and we are not a big organization. But at some point, if you hear the word klezmer, you may want to check it out, and klezmer in Vancouver, and maybe I'm there. I also teach other things online, dance, Pilates. I have a class called Moving Conversations, and it's fun to move, as I told you, with others, creating a bond and creating also this buoyancy. Not everything is going down, we lift ourselves up together. So I hope you had a good time today. And I advise everybody to dance. So at some point in the day, we all need to dance, to express ourselves, to be playful. And yeah, that's what I think. And I hope to see you in one of my classes. I hope to see you around, maybe when we can resume the Klezmer community project, you'll be there. And I wish you a happy end of the week, a good weekend, and I see you next week. Bye-bye.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Claudia. Did you want feedback? I'm asking for consent before I give feedback.
Yes, yes,
What?
yes.
Yes, good. Just checking. I think you know that I'm not scary by now. I'm usually not scary most of the time. I try not to be. Sometimes I'm a bit intense. I loved it. I love you're so expressive. You're such a mover. You know you can. It's so obvious in the way that you speak and in everything that you do. What you do and what you're passionate about is so obvious in that you immediately step back. So you gave us a really not full body, but you gave us much more of your body in the frame, which immediately looks more professional, as I was talking about earlier. And it gives you space to move, which is so important. It gives us some of your body language. It gives us some of your physical expression. The next step would be to put the camera a little bit higher, because looking up at people can feel a little bit awkward, especially if you've got, something up your nose. But you didn't. But
Yeah.
but it's just this we prefer to look. We're used to looking at people in the eyes, so it's better to have kind of eye level kind of camera, or even slightly above. But that's not really delivery. That's just camera technique. What did I want to say? Yeah, I love how expressive you are. I love how you move. I love the way you use your gestures. You use wonderful words. I loved your message. This buoyancy with people. Yes, things need to be more buoyant at the moment. I am lacking buoyancy in my life, and dancing is so important. And I learned something, so thank you.
Thank you.
If I were to choose one thing to improve, it would be occasionally when you're thinking, and this is one of those things where sometimes when we have an accent or something, it can be part of that. It's not always a vocal habit in the most pure sense. Is you have a bit of upspeak when you're thinking. So when things go up at the end of a phrase, even it's not the end of a sentence, but I'm kind of thinking of what to say next, my voice will go up. And that was happening quite a bit, I think, because you were speaking extemporaneously, which is wonderful. It was lovely to see you just go off the cuff and talk about what's going on right now. That was really lovely. The danger of that is that if we're thinking and speaking at the same time, the upspeak can get a little bit much. And it's okay to go up every now and again. It's not that you must never do it. It's just that it indicates something to us. And psychologically, the upspeak is an indicator of I'm not finished or of I'm insecure. And so if we hear it too often, if someone isn't finished all the time, we get frustrated because we want to close a thought before we move on to the next thought. So it's like having one really long run-on sentence. Even if you are speaking in multiple sentences, even if technically there would be full stops and periods in your language if it was written down, if you go up all the time, it sounds like it's one run-on sentence, and it's exhausting for the listener to hold everything that you've said in their head instead of kind of go, okay, that's finished, now I move on to the next sentence. So that, or if we're feeling insecure, and this is why it comes up so much when we're thinking and speaking, because we are a little insecure because we're thinking while we're speaking, and that's, I don't know what comes next. I am feeling uncertain. That is true. And
also,
yeah.
sorry. And also that going up all the time, it's tiring, right? You kind of
Yeah.
the same rhythm all the time.
Exactly, exactly. And this is why I have to be careful, because I've noticed I work with a lot of people who don't have English as their first language. And I've noticed that certain languages have upspeak built into the melody of the language. And so sometimes it's just a language thing, which, you know, I didn't know when I first learned about it, because I'm an English first language speaker, very boring. So that, yeah, but there is that it is that kind of, there's a relentlessness to going up all the time. Like, I'm never done. I have to keep going. It's like a marathon. But there's also an element of uncertainty, and especially if we add an higher pitch to it. So if I'm talking in my upper pitch, which you weren't, but if I were to talk in my upper pitch and then go up, it would sound very much like I was insecure and like I didn't know what I'm talking about, and like I'm feeling like I want you to like me, and like I don't know what I'm saying. And there's such a strong indicator of lack of self-confidence, lack of assurity. And so we have to be careful about that upspeak. It is
Okay.
just a habit, but it's one of those things.
I'll try to notice
Yeah.
what if I've done that in other videos.
Not much.
Because-
This is
because
the
it's
first time
like
I've noticed it as
asking-
much.
No, what?
This is the first time I've noticed it be so consistent with you. It's not something I think of when I think of your speaking habits. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, that it's like asking at the end, right?
Exactly.
No? Yes?
Exactly. Right? Right? Am I right? Am I right? Stop asking me.
Yeah.
You should know, you're the one talking. But it is something that comes very naturally when we're speaking off the cuff. And so it's just the next step. It's the next level. When you up level, when you get better at speaking extemporaneously in front of people and thinking and speaking at the same time, you are good at pausing when you need to, and reaching down for the word. So I would encourage you to spend maybe a little bit more time giving yourself permission to pause and reach down into your body for the right words, because I know for you that's where the words live, is deep inside. And that will I think, it's not something I'm really concerned about. I just like to give one thing that was amazing and one point of improvement. Otherwise, I'm not very useful. So I try to help.
No. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else?
I'm very excited. Yeah, sure. Do you want feedback from anyone else? Does anyone else want to give you feedback? This is open house. If you want to give Claudia feedback, you just got photobombed. If you want to give Claudia feedback, you can unmute yourself and may as well have a
Ya
conversation.
termino.
Or you can type it if you're feeling shy. If you don't want to speak, you can type feedback to Claudia. You are welcome to do that too. I don't see anyone unmuting themselves.
Was I the last one, or is there anybody else?
Well, this is the thing, is the last 5 speakers have all been the last one. So I don't know is the answer to that. I'm living very much in the uncertainty myself with this event, because I wanted it to kind of go organically. So I didn't put out a schedule. I didn't make a schedule because I wasn't sure how brave people were going to be feeling, and I didn't want to force anything. And I thought I'd just let it happen organically. So we've had a few speakers now. It's been quite nice. And we've had some questions. I've talked probably more than I should. And if we don't have any more, then we'll call it. But I see something coming up in the chat. Sarah says thank you, Claudia, for being so brave. And Sarah, maybe you'll speak next time. I didn't even see you. Come on, nice to see you, Sarah. I haven't been noticing all the people who've been joining the calls, so you snuck on while I wasn't looking, Sarah. Hello, nice to see you. Well, not see you, but nice to be seen by you. If anyone else has feedback for Claudia, please feel free to type it in the chat. Or
in the group.
Or
right?
yeah, in the group as well. Yeah, the Facebook group. Yes, for those of you who are watching the live stream, say it in the Facebook group. Lots of positive feedback on Facebook. Oh, fantastic. You're getting lots of positive feedback on Facebook, Claudia. People aren't doing it in the Zoom chat, they're doing it on the Facebook. So yay!
Thank
I
you.
can't have more than one tab open on my computer at a time right now because I was having technical issues. So I'm glad that people are responding on Facebook. That is wonderful. I will, when the call is over, I will check the Facebook and
Yeah,
say hi. Thanks so much, Claudia.
thank you, everybody, for listening. Hey, thank you, Daniel.
Thank you. Make me want to dance. Let's dance. Let's have a little dance break.
Yeah, we'll do something one day.
We should. I would love that. We could do a
Yeah.
co-host. Yes, that's on my list.
Mhm.
Someone has a question. Great. I will wait for the question. It is. I've just seen that I have a question, but I haven't seen the
me.
question yet. So I'm waiting. Oh yes, please. Hello.
Hi. I was wondering if you had any tips on being better prepared to speak off the cuff, because I know it can be quite intimidating.
Oh yes, it's almost like you know what I do, Ayanna. I do. Thank you. It's a great question. And this is so cool because everyone here, I think, has spoke. Well, Clara has done the presentation before, but everyone was speaking very much kind of not too prepared, lovely off the cuff. And it's so lovely to see. Not that preparation doesn't have its place. I do think preparing is good too. So the question, answering the question. Don't get distracted, Danielle. No more distractions. Stay focused. Yes, I do have some tips on how to prepare to speak in an unprepared way. I use a process that I call napkin planning. I don't think it's a word that I made up. I think it's a word I borrowed, but I have no idea where I borrowed it from. So if you think of planning on a napkin, like if you're having dinner with someone and you're making a plan and you're trying to explain something and you'll just draw something on the back of a napkin. It's not a detailed plan. It's not pages and pages. It's not a report. It's just the level of detail that you could get on the back of a napkin, which isn't very good because your pen is kind of, it'll bleed a little bit when you're writing. So you have to write big and the napkin's not very big. So I do what's called napkin planning. And for me, that helps me gather my thoughts because a lot of speaking extemporaneously, you're speaking about something that you already know. You're not going off and doing a whole bunch of research and presenting on something. Usually, when you're speaking off the cuff, when you're speaking without preparation, you're speaking about something you already know a lot about, like the book that you've written or the class that you just went to, or you have a question. It's experiential information. It's knowledge. It's something you already know. So you don't really need to create a talk in the same way as if you were researching something and presenting it because you already know it. So it's more about organizing what you already know. It's more about taking the thoughts that are in your brain, deciding what to keep, deciding what to leave out, and deciding what order they go in. And so you don't need to go into a lot of detail. You don't need to write out full sentences. You don't need to write a whole essay. Just bullet point napkin plan. And I like to work in threes because threes are really easy to remember. The power of three. So I might have three main points. For a short talk, I just write down three main points. So 3 bullet points. If I'm talking, for example, if I was to speak extemporaneously on how to be heard at the back of the room, how to project your voice, my 3 main points would be remember to breathe, breathe all the way down, breathe deeply, and speak on the breath. So that's 1 point. What I would write on my napkin would just be remember to breathe. But that point of remember to breathe would remind me that there are important things about breathing. So it's not just that you breathe, it's where you breathe. Where you're breathing in your body is important. It's not that you breathe, but that you use your breath as you speak. And so that would be the second point. And the third point would probably be remember that it's the in breath that's important, not the out breath as much as you might think. And so I might write those 3 points. I might write remember to breathe, what did I say? Where, where might be point 1. Point 2 might be speak on breath, and point 3 might be in breath. Or I might just remember those 3 points because it's something I know so well. So I might just write breath. And then my second point in my napkin plan, just bullet points, would be, we're talking about projection, would be resonance and using the facial mask. So when we're projecting our voice, it's important not only to use the body resonance, which is the more kind of pleasant, what makes our voice pleasant to listen to, but also to really use the facial mask for resonance, because that's what carries the voice. That's what makes the voice go quite far because of the frequency that is created when you resonate in your facial mask. And so I would write facial mask, or I might write resonators as my second point. And then my third point for being heard at the back of the room would be intention. And we talked about this earlier, that if I'm shy and I don't want to be heard and I'm focusing on not wanting to be heard, my voice is going to get small and swallowed. But even if I am shy, if I want to be heard because I have something important to say, and I focus on being heard by the person at the back of the room, when I was in acting training as a young child, one of my directors would always say, remember the granny in the back row, meaning remember the person who's here to listen to you but can't hear properly, who's right at the back. And that the idea of speaking to the entire room, not just the person in the front row, but making sure that you're also wanting to be heard by the person in the back row, that intention can really change how your body reacts and how your voice reacts to what's going on. So those would be my 3 points. The point 1 would be breath. Point 2 would be what was it? Resonance. And point 3 would be intention. And I might just write those 3 words on the napkin. And that just focuses what I want to say, so that, and the cool thing about having just 3 words on the napkin is I don't need to take the napkin up on stage with me, because I can take a mental snapshot of 3 words. I can remember 3 words. And so when I'm standing up and talking to people, I can kind of remember in my mind's eye what those 3 words were. And so if I'm not speaking about those 3 words, I'm not on topic, and I throw that out, and I use it as a map. So I don't know if that helps, but for speaking extemporaneously, I do have a lot of tips on how to prepare a talk properly. But for when you only have someone's like, hey, you're speaking in 3 minutes, you'd better get ready. And you're like, oh no, that's what I would do. I would write just bullet points, napkin plan. It doesn't need to be on a napkin. You can use paper, but that's what I would do. Does that answer your question, Ayanna?
Absolutely. Thank you. Perfect.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for such a good question.
Anytime.
Any other questions? I will pause meaningfully for questions. There was I can't remember who it was, but one of my favorite comedians, I don't remember who. I have a couple, I have like 5 or 6 favorite comedians, but one of my favorite comedians would always say, I take your silence as a resounding yes, which I think is very cheeky, because sometimes when people are silent, they're being silent because they don't approve of what you're saying. So I thought that was quite cute, that I take your silence as a resounding yes. Any other questions? If we don't have any other questions or any other speakers, I think that might be it. It's been a really awesome event. Thank you. I was so nervous. For any of you who were here at the beginning, I was like a train wreck. Claudia, you're waving. Do you have a question? Oh no, you're just waving. You're just waving. I wave at you. I see your wave. Thank you. Yeah, if anyone saw me at the beginning of this call, that's what I look like when I'm panicking. That's what I sound like when I'm panicking. I hope it was still entertaining. I try to be entertaining when I'm freaking out. It helps me more than anyone else. It helps me calm down, or at least not take myself too seriously. Yeah, so I'm going to call it. I'm going to wrap it up. I want to say thank you so much to everyone for being here and for making this such a fun and meaningful event. There were a lot of really great messages. I think all of the speakers, every single speaker had something really profound to say. And that is not typical. That is not something you see every day. So thank you so much for bringing such wonderful wisdom to this open house. I will be doing another one in a month and a half or so. I think I'm going to do 2 every 3 months is kind of my plan. I'm working out a social media plan at the moment. If any of you know me, I'm terrible at social media, but I'm learning. And yeah, if you have any questions, my email address is danielle@inspiredcoaching.ca. You've got my Facebook, you've got everything that you need to contact me. If you need anything, if you want the tongue twisters, send me an email and I will send those to you. It now comes with a video for those of you who've been given it already, so you can check it out. And thank you, Ayana, for being my hobbled moderator that I didn't give all the permissions to. But thank you so much for doing such a good job anyway. And I think that's it. I think I will love you and leave you. Have a wonderful. It's evening here, so have a wonderful evening or day or whatever, wherever you are. And I will see you again very soon. Love you so much. Bye.